Hello and welcome to Hope Fellowship. It is Sunday, September 5th. I can't believe it is September already. Oh my goodness, time's flying. Well, we're here for our online service, and I got a great announcement later in a few minutes about reopening and having our first in-person service coming up real soon. So let's dive right in. I got a lot of stuff to cover quickly. See, a huge birthday list, a huge one. So, birthday. Wayne, happy birthday to you. Rachel, you just moved. Happy birthday to you, and hopefully your move went well. Tatiana, happy birthday to you. Evelyn, little Evelyn, happy birthday to you. Some guy named Mike, happy birthday to you. John, happy birthday to you. Same day, my brother. And Tim, the very next day, happy birthday as well. That's a lot of birthdays. That's pretty cool. And then we have an anniversary, Ken and Rosie. It's their wedding anniversary on the 7th, so that's pretty exciting. So give them a shout out if you know them, and we'll do our happy birthdays as we can. People to pray for. I'll give you an update in just a minute, but Robinson and his family, I'll talk about that in just a moment. Paul just had surgery on Monday. Hopefully it went well. We got a lot of kids that have moved away, students that have moved away to school, and there's stress to it. There's newness. There's change of life. Of now you have to take care of yourself. It's all kinds of stuff. Parents worrying, rightfully so, and all of it that goes with it. So let's just pray for the parents and the kids as they embark on a new school year, and with all the unknowns that this school year has. And that's not just for college and university. That's for public schools as well. There are no memorials this week, so none that we're aware of. Back to Robinson for a moment. You're going to tell by this. I picked a song with Yeshua at the beginning, and it happened to be a really, really good one. It's his newest song he provided. But something has recently happened where Robinson and his family have had to escape Pakistan. That's right. They had to leave. When I get a chance to get Robinson to share the story, I'll with permission, I'll share the story. But they had to get out because their lives were, well, he was threatened big time, and an assassination was kind of set up for him. That's kind of what I got. So they escaped, and they're in the USA now. Their whole family they quickly sold everything they could and got out fast, like really fast. So let's pray for them. That is a huge, huge thing. We think we have problems. Imagine being uprooted immediately because they're going to take you out. I just saw another post of an Afghan underground church that they're all dead. The Afghan people went in, the Taliban, whoever it was, discovered this group, and they killed them all. And people are dying for their faith around the world. It is not a safe place. So for us and our little small things compared to what I just told you, and we say we got it bad, oh no, life's terrible. Hang on a sec. I think we need to get a perspective straight. I think we really do. So I'm just sharing that with you. So when we go through the music, which I think is next, nope, but I'll tell you about it in just a second. So let's get to this next one. After church coffee, we're not doing the after church Zoom coffee today. It's canceled until September 12th, but I got to figure out how to do that. So I'll figure it out. Hopefully we can do another chat. Some of you will be here in person. Others will try and create a Zoom thing, maybe even do a group Zoom thing down in the gym and have people come in. We'll figure that out. I just don't know what we're going to do yet. So we're not doing after church today. So there's no link that I emailed you. All right. It's not there. Financial support, again, in the email we sent out, give you a quick update on what's going on. I think it's important for those that call Hope Fellowship their home church. You know what's going on financially as well. So make sure you take a look at that. And those that do support, oh my goodness, thank you. It means so much. Reopening. Here's the big update. So Sunday, September 12th, next Sunday, we are going to meet in person, but we have limited seating and you have to register. Check the email I sent you. Read everything in there, please. And then when you click on the Eventbrite link, I think it's open till 10 p.m. on next Friday where you can register. If it shows it's full, we're full. So, yeah, I think we're whatever our number is, but that's what we've limited it to safely have church under the guidelines of our provincial government and the local health as well. So we're following all the guidelines, and that's it. So can't argue about that. So check your email. That's great. So next Sunday, we're going to do it from the auditorium live. And we're going to continue streaming. I'll have a tablet, and I'll be able to interact with the comments. I can't respond today to the comments. I wish I could. And you'll see why, because I have an interview that I'm going to be sharing with you. And if we got to keep this short so we don't run out of time. All right. Click and like on Facebook and click subscribe on YouTube, and you'll hear when the videos come live. I think you're going to really, really like what's going to happen today. The interview is phenomenal. It's part 2. You'll find that out in just a moment. But remember, there are folks watching from different places. So just because you're commenting doesn't mean everybody sees it. If you're watching from YouTube, that's the most common place everyone's watching from. So switch over there, or go to my personal Facebook page, Growing Grace Canada Facebook page, Hope Fellowship's Facebook page. We're watching on Twitch. We're watching on Global Online Ministry Alliance page. But that's why, if you're not seeing a lot of comments, they're happening in other places. People are watching from multiple platforms. So music. Jesus, I Need You. This song, I want you to hear the words from a young man who had to escape his country just within a week ago. Okay? Now rehear it. He prepared the video while he was in Pakistan. He's been sending us music, so please listen to it. And then Terrell has a really good song, Lord I Need You. It's a prayer. And then Mary-Anne Rabe, I found one of her songs, and I grabbed it off the internet, added the words as best I could, as quickly as I could. And Why Do You Worry? Great song. It's going to fit into everything that we're talking about today. So let's dig into the music, and we'll come back and have a conversation about what's going to happen today.
Oh, be my answer, Lord, when the world has fallen quiet, you stand beside me. Give me a song in the night, and Jesus, I need you every moment. I need you here now. This grace brought us, sing out your praise forever. Beauty for ashes, you find the weak and contrite heart, shoulder its burdens, carry it into the light. And Jesus, I need you every moment. I need you here now. This grace brought us, sing out your praise forever. Whoa. Remember love, remember mercy, Christ before me, Christ behind me. Your love and kindness has never failed me. Christ before me, Christ behind me. Remember love, remember mercy, Christ before me, Christ behind me. Your loving kindness has never failed me. Christ before me, Christ behind me. Remember love, remember love, remember love, remember love, remember love, remember love. Christ before me, Christ behind on, sing with me. And Jesus, I need you every moment. I need you here now. This grace brought, sing out your praise forever. And Jesus, I need you every moment. I need you here now. This grace brought, sing out your praise forever. Whoa.
Lord, I come, I confess, bowing here I find my rest, and without you I fall apart. You're the one that guides my heart. Lord, I need you, oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness, oh God, how I need you. Where sin runs deep, your grace is more. Where grace is found was where you are. And where you are, Lord, I am free. And holiness is Christ in me. And where you are, Lord, I am free, and holiness is Christ in me. Lord, I need you, oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness, oh God, how I need you. So teach my song to rise to you when temptation comes my way. When I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. Jesus, you're my hope and stay. And when I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. And Jesus, you're my hope and stay. Lord, I need you, oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness, oh God, how I need you. Lord, I need you, oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness, oh God, how I need you.
Why do you worry about your life? What you will eat, what you will wear. Look at the birds, they are careless in His care. See the flowers, they don't toil or spin. How much more are you worth? And what do you have that you have not been given? What can you add to your life? You're already rich, you're already full. You reign in this life through Jesus Christ. How much more are you worth? Are you worth? So why do you worry about your life? What you will eat, what you will wear. Look at the birds, they are careless in His care. See the flowers, they don't toil or spin. How much more are you worth? Oh, how much more are you worth? You are worthy of love. You are worthy of love. Worthy of love.
All right. I hope you enjoyed the music. I hope you had a whole new appreciation for Yeshua and his family. Please pray for them. I'm eager to have them on video here with us. I probably can't do it live with them here, but I'll pre-record something and share it. I think you're going to love that. So today we have a special part 2 of a conversation with Mary-Anne Rabe and Andre. Really, really good stuff. So please take a look at it. I think you're going to like it. Let's dive right in, and then we'll wrap up because we're going to run out of time if I talk too much. Enjoy this. All right, Andre and Mary-Anne, thank you again for joining me for part 2 of this. We're just going to continue the conversation because it was so good. I'm going to jump back to one thing that you said, Andre, about somebody told you to read, what's his name's book, Gerard?
Yeah.
Yes, and you wouldn't touch it for 6 months. Well, I'd be in trouble if I didn't mention a friend of mine who also told me to watch a video series. My friend and your friend, I think you stayed his home, Rudy and Michelle Zacharias. Do you remember them?
Yay.
So, hi guys, there, they got the plug. But he gave me a video set to watch from Bruce Walkup from Australia. Do you remember who he is?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Rudy said, Mike, you got to watch this video. Yeah, whatever. Finally, I ended up watching it and just wept. It just hit. It's like my soul wasn't ready for it, but God said, it's actually more ready than you think. So this is almost like us getting dragged into a greater truth of who God is. You began last time talking about the reconciliation being the message, not trying to do things, right? It's not the blood and all that stuff of the cross. This is about the empty tomb, the restored relationship for all humanity. That's what I'm hearing from you. And so last time we just ended up with the emptying kenosis. Do you want to keep expanding on that? Because I love that.
Yes, I would love to bring those two, because people might think, how do those two aspects of these two different courses that we running, how do they connect? Because the one has to do with narrative, and the other one has to do with losing your narrative. And and how can I say this?
And by the way, I'm going to say something else.
Yes,
you seem to be tapped into a mindset that the West is not. The Western church is locked into theological cubby holes that are clear, concise. Once the information's in them, they're locked and you can't change the content. That's what the Western church seems to be doing. And I see what you're expanding into is more mystical, more open, more spiritual by far. And am I hearing that correctly?
You know, words are, by their very definition, there's an ambiguity about them. There's an openness about them. The language is meant to be used to say things that has never been said before. Now, if we look at grammar, the rules of language, that might remain the same, and it's necessary so that we can speak in a way that makes us understandable to one another, because we've got that grammar. But each of us can combine words, can combine sentences, can create meaning and say something that has never been said before. And I think God is more like the rules of grammar than what he is the author of the story. In other words, God makes your story possible, but he gives you the freedom to write it and author it yourself.
Wow. Even with sloppy handwriting. Huh.
Yes.
And he helps us through that. He's like with us in that, and always creating new possibilities of meaning. And so the way in which this silent meditation and the transformation of our narratives, the way in which they connect together, is to first of all understand to what extent my narrative forms me and is me. And then secondly, to understand there's a part of me beyond narrative, beyond my story. You know, when Esau and Isaac, Esau and Jacob, you know, the brothers had a disagreement, and Jacob comes to Bethel. He lies his head down and he has this encounter with God. He wakes up, and in the Hebrew, well, our translation says, God is here and I did not know it. There's a beautiful Midrashic tradition and way of interpreting that scripture that opens up new meaning. It says, God is in this I did not know. And so that is what the silent meditation is about. There's a part of you that's beyond words, and there's a part of God that's beyond words. And for us to find new meaning, because who wants to stay in that little cubbyholes of defined definitions? My goodness, how boring. We've been part of that, to just defend the same premises let's just live. We made for life. We made for possibilities. We made for creating new meaning. And the way in which silence does it is actually right in the beginning of Genesis. You know, in the beginning, when God created, actually, again, the Rashi, a Hebrew teacher, changes the translation so beautiful. And Robert Alter's translation of the Bible beautifully changes it. It says, when God began creating, the earth was welter and waste, or how the Hebrew is tohu v'bohu. It's this chaotic waste, just this chaotic spinning depth. And theologians have struggled with that, because we don't want a God who begins creating with chaos. We want a God of order on his own that just enforces his will and makes exactly what he wants.
Well, it's cleaner.
His design.
It's cleaner. You don't have to think, right? If you don't have to think, you don't have to be aware.
But here, right at the point of creation, what do we find? We find chaos. And we find the Spirit of God silently hovering and calling from it new possibilities of meaning. Now, I come from when I was still 20 years ago, when I was in IT, information technology, the way in which you communicate information, just to give you a glimpse at why chaos is necessary for richer meaning. Let's take an example of two prisoners of war. They were taken as prisoners of war in a foreign country, and their wives await a message from them. And the first prisoner is given a greater variety of responses, a bit more chaos. He can say, all is well, I am sick, or I'm critically sick. He's got those three choices. The second prisoner is given only one choice. You can only say, I am well. Both of them write a letter to their wives, and they say, I am well. The wife who receives the letter that says, I'm well, and she knows that he had a choice to say, I'm sick or I'm critically ill, she's comforted because he had possibilities and he chose this one. The wife who receives the letter that just says, I'm well, but that's the only choice he had, is no better off than what she was before she received the letter, because that's the only choice. And unfortunately, as you say, that is what religion wants. A set of statements, this is truth, but that kind of religion actually teaches us nothing.
Wow.
God's creative process begins with chaos. It begins with options. It begins with possibilities. And the beautiful thing about it is he invites us to co-create the meaning of the story going forward.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the idea of how I connect.
I got you actually used a word just now I was wanting to ask you about, because the term co-creation or co-creators, again, in some circles, it's a weird phrase that I have a hard time listening to from some people because they're not believable. Can you expound on what that means without sounding weird?
We have children.
You be the judge of it.
We have children.
But you know what I mean, right?
And God allowed us to help in the creative process. God did not create them by himself. He got us involved in that process, and I'm very thankful for it. So it's as simple as that. You do things every day that has consequences. and they've got creative consequences, sometimes good, sometimes bad. That is you acting. And so I use the term co-creation because I think in every moment God supplies us with possibilities.
And dreams and ideas.
And God is the one, yes, he's the one who draws us to the best and the beautiful. But we are the ones that have to agree to actualize those possibilities.
Participate, yeah.
It is in human flesh where it becomes flesh.
Could it be the same as a picture artist as they draw whatever comes to their mind or however they do it? That's a co-creation because there's still the thumbprint and the DNA of our loving Papa in that art. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Also genuine creativity, you know. Imagine if we also, I loved what you said earlier about the openness and, you know, I think with this as well, the fact that we are drawn to possibilities of, that we really, it really means something to God, that we matter to God. Our choices matter. Yeah. That we're not, you know, God is not, there's not a hint of control in God. God doesn't desire to control the outcome of your life. He wants to draw you to the greatest meaning and beauty possible, but he's not the micromanager that we've almost, you know, kind of put onto God. We've thought that God micromanages every moment and every bit, whereas the nature of love is to set free. Yes.
Well, don't we hear people say God is in control? You know, like I'm not sure he's a puppet master.
Exactly.
Not at all. Not at all.
And if he was in control to that extent, you look at some of the things or some of the plans and you think, well,
you didn't do a very good job.
We could have done it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is it possible then that
the nature
Sorry, say that again.
Sorry, I just was commenting. Isn't it beautiful, the nature of love and the freedom of love?
I think I just had something click in the we're co-creators. I think. Tell me if this makes sense. In order for me to understand co-creation without any layers of judgment, as in, oh, that sounds weird. If I come from that as the more I'm realized I am loved fully, completely, and in a place of absolute delight, I can now see what co-creation can be. If I don't have that, and I think I have to contribute something out of duty, now it becomes a legalism, right? Then co-creation sounds weird, but it maybe doesn't sound weird when you understand love.
Exactly, because the very nature of love is uncontrolling. How can God be love and be in control? That's not love. Love creates freedom. Love becomes vulnerable. Love allows you to affect it as it affects you. Anyone who has been in a relationship of love knows that
it changes you.
It changes you. Love is not a one-way directional type of thing. Love is this communion that transforms everybody that's involved in it. And so God is vulnerable rather than in control. God, and you know, maybe this is why I try to be sensitive with our terminology and all of that. But on the other hand, I know, having come out of that Christianese tradition, so many people just want something that works. We actually don't care about whether your terminology is maybe used by this group or that group, or it sounds a little bit new age or this, or who cares if it works? And it is part of a conversation that enhances this intimacy and fellowship with our Abba. I will use whatever terminology is helpful in that way. And
I was thinking earlier as well of, I mean, I love fruit because, you know, the fruit, if you go past an apple tree, the fruit is evidence that the life in the tree is just too much for just the tree. contain. It must flow. It must, you know, give out. And you also don't walk past the apple tree and hear the tree going, oh, I need to produce an apple, you know. It just happens. The life is there, and it's beautiful. And I think we were speaking earlier as well, Mike, about, you know, growing in this grace, and that this journey we're on is a journey that is organic and it's growing. You know, it's not part of these, I've got my little boxes and they're all in the right order and they're all ticked off, and now I can just sit back and enjoy this grace, because we're now part of the in club that knows how love works and how freedom works and whatever. And but for me to grow in grace and to grow in this journey, surely then, if we are known by our fruits, that I should become more gracious.
Oh, really? That's got to be part of it.
And, you know, I love the fact that that we can partake of this beautiful fruit, of this beautiful peace and this joy and this love can be part of our growing up in Christ. And
it's a growth that never stops.
No,
I mean,
no.
if something's
Ongoing.
organic, growing, then it's an inexhaustible experience. I think maybe, you know, this is a part where I know a lot of the grace groups that we're involved in have struggled because they've come out of a place where religion was an effort to attain, an effort to get. The grace message was kind of a salvation in terms of you don't have to attain anything, it's been given, and there's great truth in that. But I think the perversion of that idea then develops into a life that is just static, a life where I have got no creative contribution to make towards my world, because all I can do is discover what God has done. No,
There's
God
more.
is not finished doing.
yes,
God still
Doing
does
through you.
stuff through you. God still lives through you. There's still there's beautiful meaning and ideas to be invented and created that hasn't been invented and created yet. And we are invited to be part of this ongoing process of the word becoming flesh, of the possibilities in the mind of God finding actuality in your life.
I think even for me, way back when I was growing in stages of grace and exposed to the same groups that you were, but this is embarrassing, but I came to a place of thinking I've arrived. This is it. I have found the message, and I can take on any pastor now because I've got the right answer. Oh, it was horrible. Only to find out, again, Rudy's video series from Bruce Walkup was part of the more exciting, greater and deeper, wider love of God expansion, the journey I'm on now that's never ending. But when I started to see and look back at even some of my grace friends accuse me of going too far, or I wasn't fitting their terminology anymore, therefore I was ostracized. So they created a new in-group. They took legalism, turned it into gracealism. It's like, what? So I've now, like we were just saying, growing in grace, my weekly program I do on Wednesdays is called Still Growing in Grace, because I've learned from all that, realizing, hang on, we're not done. We are all still growing, and we need each other, because you see something I can't. I may inspire something that you hadn't heard before, I don't know, or an attitude, something that reflects an emotion, who knows? But this is where we got to all be connected and recognize our connection. That's what I've seen.
And that relationship that keeps it alive and living. There's no problem with being content in the moment with what you have. There's much to be discovered, but it's the infinite possibilities, the God for whom all things are possible, who draws us forward into more relationship, more encounters, more meaning, more beauty, more consciousness. Yeah.
What is something that you're seeing in the people you're discipling? What are the key areas of growth and awareness that are arriving to people? Like there's some topics. I deal with a lot of deconstruction topics because there's a big list. But what are you seeing in what you're sharing? Like in the first course and the second course, what are you hearing people are most excited about? Is there something tangible or a topic or a theme?
Yes. So maybe I'll take the first one. I think our first course will probably fall within this deconstruction, reconstruction category. But it is something that doesn't just help you reinterpret a few verses differently than what you did before. It is a whole new approach to scripture, to how we understand our relationship with others. I think that is one thing that I haven't touched on in mimetic theory, but it is the way in which desires are triangular. In other words, I don't just desire that phone. Desire doesn't just spontaneously occur between a human and the object of desire, but rather desire is mimetically transferred. So I see Mary-Anne desiring the phone, and that's why I desire it. You see it with toddlers. You have a room full of toys with one toddler playing with one toy. If you let another toddler in, the first thing he notices is the other toddler. The second thing he notices is the toy closest to the other toddler. And he runs for that toy. And grabs that, and war breaks out. A short summary of human history. I want what you want. And so that has been probably in the first course one of the most profound personal transformations that people experience, is they become aware of the relationships that affect their desire, and how they have scapegoated, whether it's their kids, their husbands, their friends, whoever, because of the internal turmoil of not knowing what they desire or having what they desire. And so when that becomes obvious, we've had beautiful testaments of my relationship with my daughter has changed, my relationship with my husband. And for me also, always the transformation of relationship, that's key. Yeah. So there's the one aspect, the conversation online might be academic, might be informational, might be exciting around ideas and concepts, but what comes out by the end of the course is relationship has been transformed. I've become aware of things within myself that I used to just project onto others.
Wow.
Then in the second course, what would you say is...
I think also that possibility of because we're meaning-making machines. we are, and that transformation of meaning and in the whole aspect of God drawing us to participate, to co-create our world, that our involvement in the life of God being actualized in our world. And I think that's also an aspect. And obviously for many people who have not experienced being quiet and stilling their thoughts, there has, been such an amazing springboard into a marriage of not just information, but transformation, and holding that space, creating space for new meaning and new possibilities to arise. And obviously also the community and the conversation is really, for many people transformational, because you would know in a journey where you're not just losing ideas, you feel like you're losing yourself
and control.
Because we are wrapped up
Yes.
in our ideas, and
To be on that journey with someone else.
yeah,
Yeah.
people who are and just in a safe space is conversation is always so important in that.
It sounds like you're talking about what Jesus, or what was mentioned in Philippians, where Jesus emptied himself. He modeled it. Something I had a program this morning, and something was said there that kind of caught me off guard. And the way you're talking, it reminds me of this. I've heard a lot of talk in again, some of these gray circles and some of the peripherals, that we are God. This whole idea of because I'm one with God, therefore now I am. And you hear the rhetoric going up, and it's driving me crazy. And then I realized what you just said about Philippians. Even Jesus did not see himself as equal at that time. This is his model of humility and emptying was the model for us. And that seems to be more of the fruit of what abiding should look like. Does that make sense?
I think it does. Do you want to say? that obviously we can partake of the divine nature, like Peter says, that there's a participation, that God is inviting us and enabling us to participate in who he is. And at the same time, God participates and becomes flesh and expresses himself through me.
Yes.
And so in a very real way, I can say, I am part of God.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And God is part of me.
Yes.
But if you speak about this body, this knowledge, this relational node, that is not all of God. God is everything.
Because if that was true, God's sitting beside you as well.
Yes, exactly. I can.
And also, for me, I think such a clarity for even that passage in Philippians 2 would be not clinging to the right. It's almost like these days we're very much about our right to be, I am the divine, and I am, that is, for Jesus, that was, it wasn't even how can I say, I'm losing the words here. Let's just say he didn't cling to that. He didn't cling to his right.
He didn't have to argue for it.
Yeah, for equality with God.
Yeah.
It was never in his attitude.
He wasn't, no. And it's only actually when you realize, when you're not coming from a sense of lack of being, but you realize all that you participate in, that you are able to empty yourself, that you are able to do exactly what he did, and that is reach out to the other. And I think in a sense that kind of brings to mind as well how we are part of one another. So, even passage where I think Matthew 22, where he speaks about love the Lord your God. They ask him, what is the greatest command? And he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, all your strength. And then he says, and love your neighbor as yourself. And we've often interpreted that as, okay, well, I need to just love myself well, and then I must love my neighbor as much as I love myself.
Wow.
But he says, love your neighbor as yourself. That
say that again slower. That was beautiful.
That love your neighbor as yourself. That your neighbor is the next person you meet is an extension of you.
That sounds like fruit.
Yeah.
It does again. And then again, we're not clinging to the right to know this, and now I'm right, you wrong, I'm in, you out. Rather, when you see the other as an extension of yourself, in the same way as you're an extension of God, you begin to see God in the other.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
my,
you begin to reach out to the other. And yeah, it's one of those beautiful mysteries, isn't it? Where you know, even the passage in John 17 where he says, you and me and you and I, and thinking that doesn't even make sense. And it's part of the beautiful mystery of this relationship.
And Jesus came to reveal that mystery. Like it took me, I'm a pastor now for about 31 years this October. But for the last 20 years, is the only time I've known Christ lives in me. It wasn't until, here's the secret, Christ lives in you. That verse became a wake up reality check 20 years ago. And I've been pastoring for 10 years already. I did not know. I thought it was with me, but I didn't know it was in me, as me, with me, that I was fused in, like we're one in union. That was a bizarre concept. So instead of me trying to become, now I'm learning to discover my actual being, and that's a lot more restful.
Yes. Beautiful.
Wow. Well, thank you. I think our time's almost up. I got a couple minutes, so I'd love to hear what would you say to those that are hungry to, hey, I want some more of this. What could God be putting on your heart to share at this? Is there anything that's coming to mind? I know you shared a lot already. This has been beautiful.
I would invite you. We've got a lot of free resources available on YouTube. You can just search for Always Loved. Our website is alwaysloved.net, and from there you can find our articles, our videos, our school, all of those things. So we've got a lot of resources available. And actually what we want to refer you to ultimately, and what all of these teachings point to, is a source of living water that's within you. A source that will never run dry. A process that continually renews and brings new life. It's there. And so our conversation with one another is not because we have something you don't, but because we celebrate our common participation in the God who has poured himself out
and
to
he's
us.
Always way larger than and way better than we've ever imagined.
Yes.
Deep draws to deep, right?
So much,
Yes.
for thank you for your time as well. We appreciate that.
Well, this is fun. I hope we can do this again. I'll talk to you about something when we're done, but this has been a wonderful thing. I'm going to make sure the links are on in the notes below once this airs. But I think this is just scratching the surface. Like I remember a conversation with William Paul Young, and he was sharing on stage of how the Trinity submitted to humanity in full submission. I've never heard that concept before, but this is where the whole vulnerability of God was exposed. I'd never seen it before. It's like, what? Wait a minute. So if that's how God submitted to the world, that's a model for us. Instead of the world that we're in right now, especially pandemic time, everybody's about rights, my rights to this, my right to that. Wait a minute, you got no rights. You gave them up. So I don't know. There's just something that doesn't click. Yikes. All right. Well, thank you, Andre and Mary-Anne. This was a pleasure. And I hope we can chat again sometime.
Love chatting to you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Bye-bye.
Oh man, I hope you enjoyed that conversation. That was really, really good. I hope to have them come speak live here at Hope Fellowship sometime when they come back into Canada. All right, as we wrap this up, don't forget your online donations, weekly, whatever, however it works, and no Zoom chat today. We're not doing the Zoom, so don't click those links. We're not going to be there. We'll figure something out for next week. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing some of you in person next Sunday. Thanks for watching.